Hello, welcome to the second special episode for the Curious Crow podcast. I'm Chris Borden.
And I'm Martin William.
And today we're going to be talking about Gran Turismo for the PlayStation 2, because it's still carrying on from last week with our special of the PlayStation 2. So Gran Turismo 3 and 4, Ratchet & Clank 1 through 4, From Russia with Love, a surprise hit, Burnout Takedown, Ford Racing, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Tomb Raider, Angel of Darkness, and how much of a disappointment it was. Simpsons, Hit and Run, and Time Splitters 2, which was actually added to the list by myself a bit later on because I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed that game.
We'll talk about that in a moment. We're also going to talk about what happened when the PS3 came along, and how it sort of had a longer life than you might expect. The last PS2 game, and when did you put yours away? That's the question that I'm going to be posing.
What a leading question, Martin.
Oh, such a tease. Let's talk about Gran Turismo then.
Yeah, you can talk about it because anyone who knows me knows that I'm really not a racing game fan unless it's to do with severe carnage and explosions and big stupid American things.
Burnout, which you're going to talk about.
Exactly.
Gran Turismo 3 was when I got serious about racing games.
Oh.
Okay. I loved it. I loved it so much, and it was brilliant because the leap up from PS1 to PS2, you got to understand, that was a huge leap.
Oh, yeah.
Like a massive leap in technology. And it's stunning to me that it loaded fast.
Yeah.
It responded well. It had real driving physics. It had new tracks. It had new cars. It was amazing. And like, it was so cool to be able to get like my mum's car. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was able to actually go to Vauxhall and buy the bloody thing. I mean, it was pointless buying a Corsa on Gran Turismo 3, but you know, you did once you had enough money. And I'm also going to talk. This isn't on the running order, but I want to talk about cheat discs. I might add that to the list.
Add it.
Yeah, I'm going to not add it because the tablet won't let me at the minute, but I'm going to talk about cheat discs as well right at the end. And then Gran Turismo 4 came along. Now, you know how excited I was for Gran Turismo 3?
Yes, I do. I remember you saying. Like,
now, Gran Turismo 4.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That was like the next notch. And I love Gran Turismo. I love all the games, but I don't think that it's ever been better than Gran Turismo 4.
Really?
In terms of excitement, in terms of anticipation, in terms of how large the game was, how massive it felt, and how fun it was. Like, I was talking about the cheat discs and stuff like that, and like just pushing myself to get F1 cars and do that sort of stuff. And obviously, I wasn't an idiot. At the time, I had a save that was, because it's back in the days of memory cards.
Oh, memory
cards. I had a save that was like a proper save.
Yes.
And then I had my cheat disc save. And I had a special cheat disc just for Gran Turismo 4.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was just for Gran Turismo 4.
Interesting.
Cheat discs, man. Crazy. We won't talk about cheat discs, but cheat discs. I'm a dirty cheater, and I don't mind admitting that in this instance.
Unclean.
Can you also? So I see you're adding GTA San Andreas to this.
Indeed,
can you add Vice City as well, please? I forgot to put that on there because I'm a fool. Because that was a huge game for me. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on the fact that I don't think the Gran Turismo series has been better. And I was talking about a guy called Jimmy Broadbent who's been doing streams.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, this was so good. This was so good. And getting the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak special edition, limited edition car that was like the fastest car in the game, and how me and my friends would talk about it and how it would just be nuts. Like, we were all into it, and we were all like competing against each other in a weird way, like who can get the furthest, who can beat this race in the quickest time. And I still, to this day, just don't know how Gran Turismo 4 got me. 3 was where it started, but 4 got me. And I also played Gran Turismo Tokyo Geneva Concept.
Oh, okay.
Which I got into sometime after. There's a review of it on the site, actually. That's done by our friend Josh Parks.
Indeed it is. Read very well by him.
Yes.
Very, very nice voice work.
Yes. I'll let you into a little secret. I reviewed the game. He did the voice.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to have a different voice on the channel, but it was my idea to do that game.
Yeah.
And there's a review of Gran Turismo 6 up, so you can see the influence of of me
sure.
on those. But yeah, there's not much I can say about it other than if you haven't played it and you're into your racing games, it's well worth a look still, and it's so cheap. You can pick it up in, I don't even know how much it is in CEX at the moment. It's probably pence.
Probably.
It's probably pence. Gran Turismo 5 Prologue, incidentally, for the PS3, pence.
Really?
Pence, 50p, 75p, something like that. Yeah, anyway, let's talk about a game that has actually been revisited lately, and had a film which I thought was acceptable.
Oh yeah.
I liked the Ratchet and Clank film, but it wasn't.
It wasn't
good, but it wasn't like, you know.
Yeah, no, to be fair, these ones were kind of added to the list because of me, I suppose, because I am and always have been, always was, a huge Ratchet and Clank fan.
Yeah.
And do you know what? To this day, even now, without playing the remastered edition, I would happily go back onto my PlayStation 2 and play all the way through each and every one of them, because, as you said in last week's episode, it just is still so good. It still works. It still looks pretty. And do you know what? The game the storyline they just hold up.
Do you know what's funny about Ratchet and Clank? For me, I didn't have it, but my sister did for some reason. And she's not massively into her games. I don't know why she had it. So a few years back, we must be talking 2013.
Oh, really?
Not even that long ago. I was going back to my parents' house, and me and my girlfriend at the time were bored.
Yeah.
So we went, what are we going to do? Well, actually, why don't we just play Ratchet and Clank?
Okay.
I heard it's a really good game, and it's one of the ones that I left at home.
Okay.
Popped it in the PS2, which was still there, still plugged in.
Oh, yeah.
And my goodness, it still held up beautifully.
Yeah.
And it was. I was saying to Debbie, I was like, wow, this is so good. This is still so good. And she was like, I don't get it, because she wasn't a massive gamer, but she did Buck Storm Super Mario Brothers on the Wii. I gave her the controller, and she just, I don't know, she was really good at it. Really good at it.
Well, that's the thing, because obviously,
far be it from me to praise an ex, but she was bloody good at Ratchet and Clank, I tell you.
Well, do you know what?
I doubt she's listening, but I do hope she's doing well.
Well, do you know what? That's the thing, mate. Because I remember when my very, very brief stint of owning a PlayStation 3, one of the first things I went and did was actually buy the backwards compatible versions of Ratchet and Clank 1 through 4, and added them onto my PlayStation 3, because they were games from my childhood, and they're games that I just loved without condition.
Here's a question for you, because it does happen. I'm going tangential here. You had a PS3 for a while.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, it all happens to us. You had to part with it.
Yes, I did.
Do you miss it?
No.
You don't?
No,
honestly?
I genuinely don't. I think maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just because my first kind of, at the time, would be considered the next gen console, Xbox 360. That, for me, was the only machine I really needed, because it had everything I wanted. Whereas the PlayStation 3, it just seemed like extra that I didn't need.
See, now I was loyal. We'll talk about that later, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ratchet and Clank. What was the best one out of the 1 through 4? Because I hear a lot of people saying it was 1. I hear a lot of people saying it was 2. No, people don't really talk about 3 and 4 so much. 3
and 4 were very... Yeah, you kind of got to touch on them with a very, very light brush, I suppose. 3 I thought was good. I enjoyed it. And 4 was Ratchet and Clank Gladiators, I believe. So it wasn't Ratchet and Clank 4, it was just Ratchet and Clank Gladiators. And that was all very central to one particular place, all that kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed it. But honestly, I think I will always, no matter what anyone says, will have to go back to Ratchet and Clank 1. Simply because it was new, it was exciting, it was the story, listening to it and stuff. The voice acting wasn't great, but do you know what? It was still a cracking good game.
And when you get a PS4...
Yes.
Because I'm sure you will.
Oh, yeah, at some point.
Are you going to get the remaster?
I'm going to get the remaster.
It'll be cheap then.
But, and here's my proviso.
Okay.
The only reason I want to get it is because I'm one of these sad arsehole people that has decided I want to compare. I will start up playing the original Ratchet and Clank, but I will also play the remastered because I want to see how they match up.
Do a video.
Well, I was actually thinking of doing a stream, A bit like what's his face?
Jimmy Broadbent.
That's the one. And doing a 100% completion on Ratchet and Clank.
Oh right.
And doing it on the original on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Or whichever console I have at to hand, and then doing another one of doing the remastered version, simply because I can.
The easy way to do that would actually be to use an emulator.
Would it?
Yes, that'd be the easy way to stream that. But there's something unauthentic about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on for a second.
Yes.
From Russia with Love.
Yes.
Now, to anyone who doesn't know about this game, this is like a complete, like, what? It just makes no sense. Late on in the PS2's life cycle,
yes,
EA released From Russia with Love, a game based on the classic Bond film from like the 60s. And
sorry, I'll stop now.
Do you know who did the voice of James Bond?
Was it Daniel Craig?
No. Sean Connery.
Was it Sean Connery?
Sean Connery did the voice for that game. One of his last jobs before he retired.
Fair enough.
Sean Connery worked on that game. And do you know who else was in it?
Who?
Natasha Bedingfield.
Oh.
Was like the main love interest of that film. I remember playing it. I picked it up because I don't know what compelled me. I think it was that cheaper price point. I think we're going to talk about Ford Racing as well in a bit.
Yeah.
£15. And I went, well, it's definitely worth a shot for £15.
Yeah, 100%.
I remember playing it and thinking, this is bloody brilliant. This is a really good game. I don't think it was groundbreaking. No. I don't think it was fresh. But what I liked about it was they had the balls to go and revisit a classic Bond film. And I pulled it off with Sean Connery. How on earth did they do that? Because it was weird, because it was Sean Connery's appearance as Bond.
Very
for the
bizarre.
First time in like 40 years, EA managed to, and it's difficult from like a political standpoint. How the hell did they get Sean Connery to do that?
Yeah.
How on earth did they convince him to do that? That's nuts. There is a video on the Curious Crow page that I made a long time ago for a project that I was going to work on back when Curious Crow wasn't a thing. And I was going to do a video on the history of the Xbox.
Ooh.
There's actually a video which compares the PS2 and Xbox, and that's one of the games that I picked.
Interesting.
I think it also came out on the PSP, you know.
Oh, maybe
that's
it's an idea to revisit.
That's another episode, PSP.
Yeah, 100%.
Did you have one?
Mate. No, never had one.
Well, I was nuts for it, man.
I was always Game Boy Advance boy. Honestly, I was a Game Boy Advance.
I had both.
I know you did, you lucky bastard.
Yeah, back in the day, man. They're different. They're kind of unrelated, but I did have them both at the same time. Another game that we both love, Burnout Takedown.
Burnout Takedown. One of the other first games I had, actually. Thinking on it. And do you know what? I just remember loving the sheer carnage. I remember playing it on Christmas Day. Yet again, because Christmas Day, it was kind of for me, Christmas was kind of the time where asking for games and stuff was completely acceptable, and it wasn't something that was foreign. And can I get a game, please? No, would be most of them would probably be the answer most of the time, because a bit like yourself, as you said in the previous episode, didn't have that much money, even when this was coming out. So you know, but I played it. I remember playing it for hours, and do you know what? I've got upstairs in my house, I have an original Xbox copy of the game that still works on the Xbox 360.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fantastic. And you forget how much you love the game. And do you know what? It still looks good.
It does.
It looks phenomenally good.
And do you know what's really interesting as well about Burnout Takedown is that when I was playing it, I didn't give a crap about the racing. I just like watching smashing. I just like watching things get smashed up.
Yeah, strange, isn't it?
Whilst we're here as well, I know this isn't on the running order. I'm completely trashing it today.
A little bit. It's fine.
Another game that really surprised me, which I only discovered recently. Sega did a version of Outrun for the PS2. Oh my god, it is the best version of Outrun.
Oh really?
Oh, and it's like £6. Go buy it. Buy the game.
Speaking of games that we're looking to buy, I had a quick little peek at how much the PlayStation 2 Gran Turismo 4 was worth on Amazon.
Yeah.
Obviously, other retails are available, but from new, £40.
New,
as in still in the cellar.
I kind of want a new copy of that game.
30. It says there are the used ones, £1.96. So pittance.
I bet like CEX is even cheaper.
Oh, probably.
I bet they're so much cheaper.
But the collectible ones, this is what's interesting for me.
Oh yeah,
£5 on Amazon.
What's the collectible version?
I have no idea. I will have a quick look.
They didn't do a collector's edition of that.
They didn't. But that's kind of what's strange. It just says collectible. Condition. That's the condition it's in. Collectible good, and it's just saying like the first one that pops up here is scratches to disc but plays well. Thank you.
That's not collectible. There's no collector's edition
exactly
of that game. I'm just loading up the CEX website.
Okay.
I'll have a bit of CEX action oddly these days. Because while we're touching on this, if you're going to collect for a retro console, now's the time to get into PS2 and Xbox, because we know how the fickle the games market is, and it's going to go through the roof. £3
really
for CEX. Yeah, £3 for Gran Turismo 4. I bet Gran Turismo 3 is even cheaper.
Probably, mate. It wouldn't surprise me, because obviously, again, these games go down in price. But then it's a good example with the PlayStation 1. Up. Well, exactly. Look at PlayStation 1 games. You can't now get them for love nor... Well, I was going to say for love nor money. You can, but they're bloody expensive.
For what they are.
Yeah, exactly. And you think, oh, no one's going to... It surprised me, because only a few years ago, you could walk into Game or anywhere else, and do you know what? You could turn around and pick up a PlayStation 1 game for like 13p.
I know. Look at that. I'm just showing Chris the tablet. Gran Turismo 3 is £1.
Mate, well worth a buy, obviously, then.
Oh, my goodness.
But you know what? Going back
I want to buy another copy. Use it as a coaster.
Stop it. But we're going to move back onto the running order now, because we keep doing tangents.
Yes, and we're like way over halfway through the episode. We've got a lot to get through, so let's speed up.
We'll do a speed run. Ford Racing is up next. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, Ford Racing 2, to be precise, was released for the PS2. £15 bargain game. Now, all I'll say about it is I think it was cheaper because it's an advertisement for Ford. Buy the game. There you go, buy the game. It's really good, and it features weird concept cars like the GT90 and the GT40 from the actual original GT40. Yeah. Really interesting game, and cheap. I don't know if it's still cheap now, but it's cheap. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, a game I have and still have now is zero interest in.
Well, that's because I'm really into my fantasy stuff. But Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, as a game, phenomenal. I loved it. It was one of the first games that I ever received. And do you know what? Even to this day, it doesn't look pretty, but it still plays good.
Right.
It's still done to good. So that is nice. Really, it's still a top-notch game, and surprisingly sticks quite closely to the storyline. Not completely, but sticks close enough to it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to skip over Tomb Raider for a minute. I might come back to it because it's got a long story attached to it.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Simpsons Hit and Run, a game I never had at the time, but you did.
Yes, I did. And do you know what? Yet again, another game that I bloody loved, and I was so happy when I got it, because it was really, really hyped up when it was released. People say, "Oh, a Simpsons game, it looks amazing," blah blah blah. And do you know what? It was.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like Burnout with all the carnage in all the different cars you can get. It's just fun. It's just a fun, silly little game, if I'm honest.
Do you want to know something interesting I've just noticed? A lot of the games on our list are EA games.
Bizarre, isn't it?
This is back when EA took risks, when EA properly dealt with IP that wasn't their own.
Yep.
And they were on fire.
They were for the PS2.
The PS2 Xbox era, EA.
Salute you, EA.
Were on fire.
I would tip my hat to you if I had a hat.
If you had a hat on. Tip your headphones.
No, I tip my headphones and my microphone to you.
That's going to make a lot of noise.
Yeah. Sorry.
I haven't got any headphones on at the minute, so I can't tip mine. Because I forgot them, so I'm wearing little earbuds and I took Max hurt my ears.
Time Splitters 2, one of the games that...
Another EA?
Another EA game. Mm-hmm. Time Splitters 2, which was brought up in last episode, I had. Did you have?
Yeah.
Amazing game.
Towards the end.
And it needs a remaster. I'm sorry. I know it's probably...
I don't think they're ever going to touch it again. That's a shame.
It is a real shame. But do you know what? They should... I think we should start a petition.
Yeah. Let's start a petition. Get it in government.
Let's do it.
let's come back to cheat discs.
Yes.
Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, and Vice City. I loved Vice City. I played that thing for hours and hours and hours. Not even like playing the game, just like messing around with it.
Well, I don't think there's any person who has ever played those games that has never gone, do you know what? I've handwritten all my cheats out.
Yeah,
and
I use my dial-up connection.
Yeah, because back in those days, you'd probably have to be at school to have a printer.
I actually had a printout. I think we were lucky enough to have a printer at that point, and I had like a wad of paper that was all the cheat codes to that game and others.
Do you know what? I'm thinking on it. We didn't actually have a computer with a dial-up connection until I think it was 2004.
Wow, you were late to the game, my friend.
Yeah, it's
we had FreeServe back in the day.
We had an early version of AOL.
Wow,
which makes me laugh.
Quality. San Andreas is a game that I didn't actually come back to, and it's interesting. We ought to mention San Andreas was the biggest selling game on the PlayStation 2.
It was, yeah.
And it's one of the biggest selling games of all time.
Doesn't look pretty anymore, but it's still really good fun to play.
And also you got to remember, it was the basis for GTA 5.
Yeah,
you got to remember that. And GTA 4, kind of, yeah.
It's all fairly similar gameplay mechanics, but
yeah, the ideas
it kind of set the tone.
And what they wanted to do with it was so ambitious. Now, cheat discs.
Yes,
I had an action replay.
Oh, did you?
I still have it. It doesn't work on the silver or the slim, but it will work on my fat blue one.
Okay.
Really cool. And cheat discs, you didn't get them for the PS3 because obviously it was all online. You just couldn't allow that sort of thing. And then it just hasn't happened since. I also had this cheat disc specific to Gran Turismo 4.
Yeah, you mentioned it in the last one, didn't you?
Specifically for Gran Turismo 4.
I never had a cheat disc.
Oh, really?
Never had them.
Not even the Exploder for the PS1?
No, didn't have any of them.
Oh, the Exploder's a great cheat disc.
See, do you know what? The only thing that... only game that I ever had any kind of cheat device for, strangely...
Yeah.
Was for my Game Boy Advanced, and my friend David hacked a game of Pokemon Gold.
Oh, nice.
And basically I was walking around from the very, very start, with 6 level 100 Mewtwo's in my pocket.
I bet that was quite easy.
It was, but it was also quite fun. And the great thing about that cheat device was that you could have any Pokemon from any of the games that had previously been released, and you just added them on.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It was really cool.
Do you want to know something interesting about the Exploded cheat disc for PlayStation 1? It's 20 quid.
Really?
It's 20 quid.
That's interesting.
Oh, yeah, I bought it from of all places, Argos.
Oh Lord.
We were very much an Argos and Woolies family.
Yes.
Weird now. All Amazon. Yeah, and I want to talk about Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness, and there's a little bit of a longer story to this one. So, I remember seeing an advertisement for it on the side of a bus.
Okay.
And I'd heard all the hype about Tomb Raider. I played one or two of the games, and I was like, oh, this one looks amazing. Like, it looks really good. I'd watched the Tomb Raider movie.
Ah, yes.
Angelina Jolie in her prime. And my sister had to go to hospital. She'd done something. It was small, but it was bad enough to go to A&E.
Yeah.
We're sat in A&E. At this point, it's actually ruined my trip to go and get this game.
Oh no.
So I said to my dad, listen, they're going to be waiting here for a few hours. Can we go? Can we go? Can we go? Just pestering, like, can we go? Can we go? Can we go? Can we go? Like, relentless pestering. Relentless. Can we go? Can we go? Can we go? Can we go? And eventually he goes, fine, I'll take you to go get your bloody game. So we went into the local branch of Game.
Of course.
In Aylesbury.
Yeah.
Not there anymore, tragically. But we went in there, and I went and got my copy of Angel of Darkness, and then I had to go back to A&E and sit there for another few hours. I couldn't play the bloody thing, could I? Then when I did play it, I thought, oh, this is fine. This better get better.
Just fine?
Yeah, this better get better.
Oh,
it did not.
Oh no,
it did not. So I had to endure all that pain. That's like the equivalent of us waiting for the hype for Gran Turismo 5. It coming out, not Gran Turismo 5, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's like us waiting for Grand Theft Auto 5 and it being shite. Like,
Yeah.
For me, it was on that level. Now, we got 5 minutes left, so we ought to talk about what happened afterwards.
Yeah, 100%.
The PS3 launched in the UK on the 23rd of March 2007. Now, I at this point wasn't not interested in getting one.
No.
I'd actually fallen out of love with video games a bit.
Oh.
Like, I wasn't that interested in them anymore. I've done that in my life. Like, I've gone through and out.
Yeah.
Until lately where I've been like, no, I am a gamer. Come on.
So,
They're fun, remember? And the PS2, bearing in mind the PS3 launched in 2007, the PS2 continued worldwide until January the 4th, 2013.
blimey.
Now, that means it had a lifespan of just under 13 years.
Jesus.
And it's still a hit in Brazil. With Brazil, the tax is so high on video games consoles that like a PlayStation 4 is like ridiculous. So the PS2 was still a hit.
Yeah.
The Master System is still very well revered in Brazil. They still love the Master System and the Mega Drive as well. It's nuts that that's still a thing.
Well, do you know what? I'll have to double check this, but I remember reading either last year or the year before that, in 2015, that the very, very last PS2 server had been closed down.
Yes, I actually got a slim one just before it was going to be closed.
Yeah.
Thought I'd give it a go, and then I didn't have much time. I had like 2 weeks, and then it went.
No.
Because you needed to go online. You needed an adapter for the fat one, which I wasn't prepared to get because they were expensive. But I was prepared to get a slim one, which had it built in. Yeah. And I was too slow. Slow. The last game for the PS2 was originally going to be FIFA 14, but Konami had to outdo them.
Of course.
Pro Evo 2014 was the last game for the PS2. RIP PS2. RIP.
100%.
When did you put yours away?
Do you know when I put mine away?
Go on.
2014.
You remember putting it away, don't you?
I do, yeah. I do remember putting it away because at that point I was having a massive clear out of my room because I was going off to uni and my little sister was going to have my room at the time.
Yeah.
And so I went, do you know what? I've got my Xbox now. And as much as I love the PlayStation 2, I've got to put it away. And I did, but, and this is the big proviso, I then got it back out in 2015 to play some because I left my Xbox at uni. And I thought, do you know what? Let's do a little bit of some retro gaming.
It's amazing it can be considered retro.
I know, right? It's odd, isn't it? And I played it and I went, do you know what? I still love this thing. I love this thing with all my heart. And it will forever be, I think, my favourite console. It's
the console I have the most games for, and it will always be my favourite too. And it's weird. This is the reason why we've done this special, is because for the pair of us, we look back on it with such fond memories of, and it must, we were teenagers, man. We were early teens. This was a huge part of our lives, and this is also, from my perspective, the console that turned video games into art.
Yeah,
legitimised them. Let's quickly talk about where mine ended up.
Okay.
Mine was out until October 2016.
Oh.
So what happened was I went to uni.
Yeah.
And I needed a DVD player.
Standard.
So I took the PS2. I could also play video games on it. Amazing.
Winner.
So what you want. So that was my DVD player, and I watched 100%. Many a DVD on it. And then I moved house.
Yes.
And I had a second television. It needed a DVD player. I picked the best DVD player I could find. PS2.
PlayStation 2.
And I played the bloody thing as well a few times.
Good.
And it only went away when the PlayStation 4 came out.
Yeah.
And the Xbox... no, it was after the PlayStation 4 came out. But I got an Xbox One.
Yeah.
Which meant the Xbox 360 then got relegated to being the DVD player.
Yes.
That's when I was able to finally rest my PS2. It was plugged in for an extremely long time. And even when it wasn't plugged in, it was still out on the side. I had it on a cabinet for ages because I didn't want to put it in the cupboard.
Your poor PS2, mate.
I didn't want to put it in the cupboard, so I left it there.
He's allowed to have a bit of a retirement rest now. A bit like Sean Connery from
Russia with Love.
From Russia with Love.
He still gets used, though.
Of course he does.
My original still works. I must give it a clean out.
Definitely,
I must take it to bits and give it a give it a bit of a compressed air.
Ceremonial cleaning.
Yes, and I must give it a little play. Maybe we should do a stream.
Yeah, we should.
That.
Oh, we'll light torches and everything.
Stand in circles singing Kumbaya. So
I was thinking of singing in Latin.
We do hope you've enjoyed our two-parter.
Definitely.
Is there anything you'd like to add, because we're just about to run over?
Do you know what? Only thing I will add: if you never played a PlayStation 2, what are you doing? Go out and get one.
Yeah, they're going up in price, so get one now.
Yeah, I don't care what they're going up in price. Just get one. Get one.
35 quid now. It's insane. I remember when you used to be able to just find them on the street.
Yeah,
begging for mercy.
With a little sign saying, "Please buy me."
PS2. Amazing.
We salute you.
So that is it from us for this week. Thank you so much for bearing with us with these 2 shorter episodes.
Yeah.
Next week I'll be back from holiday.
Woo!
And we will continue to chat about absolute nonsense rather than talking about decrepit old games consoles. So that's it from us. You can, of course, find all our episodes on the YouTube channel and also on the Apple Podcast app and on SoundCloud. That's it from us this week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.